Shalom. I want to start off by giving all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakah Kwadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone, where I learned this truth from. Many salutations to the elect that have been scattered throughout the four winds of the earth. And hey, Babylon, okay, it's falling apart. All right, in the midst of the beginning of the sorrows, okay, there's going to be a mass removal, all right, of 2/3 of Israel, and even of the heathen. There are going to be a lot of heathen giving up the ghost, all right, due to the scarcity, okay, due to the famine that the Lord is bringing, all right, and the woes that the Lord is bringing. Now, all right, you working a 9 to 5 here doesn't even make sense, all right, because the math is not mathing, all right, it's not good algebra, all right. The area I'm in right now, it's just using an example. The average property to own in this area may be, 1.5 million to, let's say, 3-4 million for a small size home. And just to own a property, there's qualifications. You have to make a certain amount, and these jobs are not paying the amount that the government requires to even qualify for a FHA loan, okay, or just a loan to buy a home. And the people that believe on this place are through, right? Now, you have America being known as a place where it produces the most millionaires across the four corners of the earth. Yet and still, the majority of the people are, going through the motions. Now, I'm going to play a little bit of this clip, and I pray that this lesson is edifying.
2 weeks, I'm a manager. Don't let my shirt fool you. We don't make shit. Me and my husband were both managers at McDonald's. And for 2 weeks, I only bring home, where's it at? $1,100. That's 2 weeks. So as manager, in a full month of working, I bring in, $2,400?
That's not even going to cover your rent, like I said, in this area. And this is a manager speaking, okay? And there's a lot of different stories, whether you work in sales or whether you work in the medical industry, all right, whether you work in the retail, all right, these jobs are not paying, and, they're oversaturated, all right? And for the most part, all right, they're underpaying jobs, okay? And these people are on the brink of mental breakdowns, all right, and all because the Lord has done it, all right? The Lord is doing this. And when we measure the times throughout the prophecies, we know that this thing is going to get worse, because this thing is going to trickle down to the merchants, all right, and the shoremen. It's going to trickle down to the millionaires, and the elite are going to feel it as well, because the Lord is doing it. All right. Now, the sense that it's making is not adding up to the people, and they're realizing that this devil is unfair. His judgments are unrighteous. And this is why we are trying to get the hell out of here, man. All right, to be with Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai, where there's righteous judgment, an upright king, all right, which is our Heavenly Father and His only begotten Son, all right, and a government, all right, that the elect and then the rest of the 144,000, and really all the Israelites are going to be able to thrive, all right, because here you get, maybe an acre if you're lucky, all right. Hey, in the kingdom, the Lord is going to grant us acres. All right, we're gonna be living comfortable, man. This bullshit here, man, is ridiculous. You in a little 900 square foot apartment for the most part, and you piled up upon each other, can't find a part of a real hellhole, situation. Okay. But back to the topic, you are going to see these people give up. You're going to start seeing a mass, layoff, which is happening already. And really, these people don't even want to work because they see that their wages are not adding up. These people are going to give up on Babylon as well. I was just reading an article where it was going into how you have, post-COVID, a lot of people are not even working no more, man. So the thought of the American dream has already, really died off on these people. These people are already understanding, especially these millennials are already understanding that there is no way that you can keep up with the cost of living. See that? And this is becoming a topic. People are moving abroad, going to these different third world countries because it's that bad here in the Babylon.
Minimum wage, just so that they can be able to say they don't make minimum wage. It's crazy work in this type of economy. Everybody can't make 6 figures a year. Everybody can't make over 100, 2, 3, 4, 500,000. Making that type of money with these types of jobs. But what I do know is to not be able to make the bare minimum, you ain't seeing no extra money out your check. And matter of fact, the only way that you can even see some of your check is if you don't pay no bills. You would have to live off of somebody else.
But if I were to tell you that the United States is a second-rate country that is LARPing as a first-world country. This is a list of the hours needed to escape poverty living on minimum wage. Yes, there's people that make more than minimum wage. Yes, not everybody makes this, but just look at this and compare it to what kind of life we live here. Japan, you need 11 hours. United Kingdom, 23. France, 26. Going up to the higher tier, you're looking at 44 in Canada. So you might have to work a little bit of overtime every single week. But in the United States, you need 90 hours. 90 hours of minimum wage work just to escape poverty. Mind you, the poverty line is not that high. I think the poverty line is $30,000 a year, which I don't even see how the poverty line is that low, because really, I think if you're making anything less than 40 or 50 anywhere in the United States, you can't really afford a 1-bedroom apartment. And in some places like where I live in the Bay Area, you're talking about probably needing $50, $60 an hour just to afford a 2-bedroom place, a 1-bedroom place, comfortably. You cannot tell me that this is the land of the...
And, that's going to be the bare minimum situation. Okay. Now you have, let's get the scriptures. You have the scriptures that speak about things not adding up. And things are not adding up over here, man. And so the people are going to complain and nag. All right. And really, when these heathen nag, really, that's their judgment from the Lord. This is 2nd Esdras 16, chapter 16 and verse 40. It says, "O my people, hear my word, make you ready for the battle, and in those evils be as pilgrims upon the earth." And there's going to come a point in time where you're going to have brothers that are going to go house to house, couch to couch, all right, and have to maneuver throughout Babylon. Okay, it says, "He that selleth, let him be as he that fleeth away, and he that buyeth as one that will lose." All right, because these things are not adding up on the scale. Okay, and it says, "He that occupy merchandise as he that hath no profit by it, and he that buildeth as he that shall not dwell therein. And these situations are starting to mirror the scriptures, okay? Because things are not adding up, okay? And this devil is getting richer and richer, all right? Hoarding the resources, hoarding the money. Now you have a new plague on, the eggs, which there's always been these different plagues, throughout history and throughout even modern day, all right? But you're seeing this devil go to war with anything that's healthy, okay? And trying to bring in what he's going to do. He's trying to bring in his genetically modified foods, and he's trying to shut down Jake from eating healthy, okay? And being able to serve Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua the way he should, all right? Everything has pork in it for the most part, all right? It says, verse 43, he that soweth as if he should not reap, so also he that planteth the vineyard as he that shall not gather the grapes. All right. And so it's just only going to get worse. All right. Because there's really not a heavy famine upon the land right now. All right. Because it speaks of the famine. All right. Many perishing in that time. And there's not a heavy mass, death falling upon the inhabitants as of yet. So this thing is going to intensify. All right. These are the beginning of the sorrows. All right. So it says, they that marry as they shall get no children, and they marry not as the widowers, and therefore they that labor in vain. And that's what we're seeing. Okay. These people are laboring in vain. Okay. And it's like I said, all right, when we get to the point in prophecy where you're going to see, these people, they're going to be paying a whole lot of money for a piece of bread, man, according to Revelation. All right. They're going to be catching all manners of hell on every side. Okay. Because they have not trusted on Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua, man. They've trusted on this damn devil and his unrighteous ways. All right. Because this devil don't give a damn, as long as he got it, he don't give a damn about you Israelites, man. All right. This devil is all about his own wealth. Okay. And all about his own satisfaction. He'll do his own people wrong. All right. And soon you people that are scoffing about how the so-called white man is not the devil are going to see. We ain't going to have to tell you no more, man. All right. I pray this lesson was edifying. Shalom.